We all have those kind of days, my friends, don't we? Where you jump out of bed, you stub your toe, you spill your coffee in the morning while you're getting ready, you forgot you needed gas, so now you're going to be late because you have to stop for gas, and there's a big line, your card doesn't work in the pumps, you got to go inside, and everybody's being rude, and then there's traffic and a road closure. It just seems like everyone's trying to piss you off. Is it just me, or do you have those days too? Okay. What if I told you, though, that these terribly awful days could actually be your best friend? Sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. They can actually be really great indications of where you are emotionally, with your mental health, and also with your physical health. Where you are and how far you are from where you want to be. It sounds negative, but it's actually a great thing, because if you know where you are, then you know what it takes to get to where you want to be. If you know what you don't want, then you really know what you do want, right? Without the contrast, we're not able to actually grow and move forward in life. It's just necessary, right? Without dark, you can't really fully understand and appreciate the light, and vice versa. So it can be a great tool, and I'm going to tell you why and how to utilize it, and why this actually can kind of give you a little bit of relief on those bad days, so it just doesn't feel so much like you're just throwing in the towel and just wasting a whole day because it's crappy. But before we get into it, like, comment, subscribe, do all of the things. I'm getting used to talking about the things and asking for you to do them. So bear with my awkwardness. Let's do those things. Okay, great. So, why and how can a bad day, a series of bad events, actually be a great tool for you emotionally and when it comes to your success and moving forward? Well, like I said, when you know what you don't want, you really know specifically what you do want. These are simple concepts, I know, but very, very important and very powerful. Even with bad dreams, when you have a series of negative, bad dreams, there's some science behind it. There's some research that suggests that, dreams are a kind of compilation of emotions that you're feeling throughout your day, throughout your week, just things that you're consuming visually, events going on around you, but really it's emotional. If you're feeling certain emotions like fear or anger or frustration or positive emotions, those can kind of collect together in your dream state, and your brain creates crazy images. So when you're having bad dreams, or you have this really crappy day and you just can't seem to turn it around, first of all, it's all right. No matter how spiritual you are, or how optimistic you are, or perfect your life seems to be, you're gonna have days that just suck. You're gonna have days that you just keep running into stuff and dropping stuff, and you're like, what is wrong with me today? There's no, physical ailment going on. There's no reason for me to have this crazy, terrible day. It just happens, right? So first of all, it's all right. Just tell yourself in those moments, this is just one of those days. It doesn't have to be this way the whole day, but if it is, I surrender to it, and it's all right. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's just make the best of it, right? Take some deep breaths, stop to collect yourself, know that it's all right. When you have these bad days, though, it's a really good indication of where you are. And I want to say where you are rather than how you're doing, because this is not a judgment on, are you doing everything right? Are you good enough? Are you smart enough? How close are you to success? It's not about that. It's more so, where's your mental state? We don't really notice often the small little thoughts that kind of brew around in our head that are negative, or that are positive, that slowly tend to build up and create thought patterns around certain things, create expectations around certain things. I'll give you a positive example before I go negative. I was talking to my business coach this morning. We had a meeting, and she asked me, if you do this, what would be the worst case scenario? Because it was something that I'm uncomfortable doing. And I guess she was expecting something very negative. She was expecting me to say, worst case scenario, all my clients fire me.
18 years of this is enough. Hey, water boy!
Yes, Mr. Coach for you.
You're fired!
Okay.
Or I quit, or they don't want to work with me. My reputation, is tarnished. But I said to her, well, worst case scenario is I probably get less orders from these clients. And she's like, I want you to realize the progress that you've made, because, I could have expected you to easily say that, you have no more business. All your clients fire you if you do X, Y, Z. But you said, no, I just make it less business. That's a great improvement from where my mentality used to be when I was so desperate just to get some clients that I would say yes to everything, and I would take whatever price that they would, propose. And I would just say, yeah, sure, whatever. Because I was desperate for the business and afraid to lose people. So we often don't realize the small thought patterns and different things kind of brewing around that build up over time. And of course, on the negative side, I'm a very positive person. I consider myself to be an optimist, but anyone who's very close to me would tell you that I'm easily stressed. How could I, who's so positive and talks about such, uplifting concepts all the time and have a good mentality, how could I still be so stressed? Well, it's those little things, it's those little conversations that I have with myself that build up over time, and they create patterns and dreams. And these bad days are good ways to recognize some patterns. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are in a really positive mental state, you're feeling confident, things are going really well. I don't mean literally physically like, oh, you're making great money, or it's not so much the physical world. I mean mentally. Most of the time you're waking up feeling pretty good. You're feeling pretty, let's just say, normal, right? It doesn't have to be waking up feeling amazingly, unbelievably happy and, vibrant, but wake up most days, they're pretty decent, right? You're feeling all right. When you're in that state, you can have a lot of negative things happen to you, and they kind of just roll right off of you. Think about it for a minute. When was the last time that, something happened that should have bothered you, that maybe in the past would have bothered you, or on a different day would have sent you spiraling, but you just didn't really care, right? Somebody said something negative to you, but you were in such a happy state that you're like, I'm not even going to give that a second thought. I really don't care what they think. Doesn't matter. I'm happy. Clearly they're not. When was the last time that you had a moment like that? I think everyone can think of at least one time that they've experienced that, right? When you're in a good state, then those things don't really bother you, right? You might get mad for a quick minute that there's traffic, but I'm not really in a rush. No big deal, right? But when you are in a state of negativity, when there's been a lot going on, there's been a lot of chatter in the back of your mind, because it's usually not very, very prevalent in a way that you notice, right? When there's been a little bit of like, this is taking longer than it should have. I launched this product and I'm not really seeing any progress. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to figure it out. Or, I haven't been feeling good for a while. I should probably see the doctor. I really don't want to go. Like, these are not, thoughts that we notice because they're not the big stuff, right? It's not like you're waking up every day and saying, I hate life. Life is terrible. Everything sucks. It's just those little things, but they do add up. And when you're having these bad days, it's like you become so sensitive that any little thing that goes wrong that you could usually brush off, it's like amplified. It's like someone turned the volume up, right? And it just turns into complete chaos. So when you have these bad days or these series of bad dreams, it's a really good time to stop and say, okay, clearly I got some stuff going on that I need to pay attention to. If you're a spiritual person, they say, I love this so much, God whispers to you first, right? Says, hey, that's not really good for you. I don't think that's good for you. And then he talks a little bit louder. Okay, I told you before, this is not a good direction for you, right? Maybe even, gives you a little push. And then eventually God screams at you and maybe like gives you a little smack, I mean, God probably doesn't smack people, but you know what I mean. It's like a whisper and then a loud talk and then a scream. And usually that scream is an illness, a loss of job. I know that this is more esoteric, so bear with me for a minute. But for those who are in that world, interested in the spiritual, You know what I'm talking about, right? And if you're not, then just from a logical standpoint, when you have these really bad days, you can see where your mental state is at. And it might just be a very temporary thing. Like something really bad happened this past weekend and I thought I was over it, but clearly on a day where there's a lot going on, I am sensitive, I'm still emotional, so everything's setting me off, right? But either way, it's a great time to evaluate, what is going on with me? Why am I so sensitive to all the little things going wrong today? Sometimes it's a good indication of some physical stuff that's going on, right? You can think about your health and take that moment to say, I really haven't been sleeping good this week. I have been kind of neglecting my sleep routine, and it's obviously showing because I'm in a really bad mood today, and I had a bad day the other day, and the day before that. It's reoccurring too much here. Something's going on, right? Or you know what? For me personally, I've still been dealing with trying to figure out this reflux situation and digestive problems and skin problems. It's very irritating. And so I know for me, when I've been dealing with it a lot, especially on days where I'm flaring up all over the place, I'm irritable. So every little thing sets me off. And, we just don't realize how much that our thoughts and our physical state can actually affect our mood and our performance in life. And more from the mental side, if you've been, again, giving yourself a little bit of negative mental chatter lately, kind of worrying about something that's coming up, trying to sort something out in your life, it's building up over time. And when you don't deal with it on a regular basis, whether that's, if you're going through something, getting counseling, or if you're just having everyday worries and anxieties, journaling or exercising, going on walks. And I do all those things, but I realize that sometimes I have such deep anxieties that I may need to really step out of the box and do something different, right? Something that really helps me more. Maybe it would be therapy for me. It's not something that I do, but that I recommend to people who it works for. But maybe that's something I should consider, or something else, maybe a different alternative. Maybe I am not resting enough. But anyhow, I'm rambling a little bit here, but
Will you shut up, man?
Listen,
but the basic idea is that when you have these reoccurring bad days, reoccurring bad dreams, it's a really good time to stop and evaluate where you are and maybe where you need to make some changes in life. It's not a guilt trip. It's not something that you should feel bad about. I'm having a lot of bad days. There's something wrong with me. This is what we do a lot. We guilt trip ourselves. I should be more grateful. Life is going well. This is me. I'm talking to myself now. Life's going pretty good. A lot of things are working out for me and growing, and I've improved so much in all these areas, but I tend to focus on the small areas where it's not working out, where I'm frustrated, right? This is not a guilt trip. It's not time for you to beat up on yourself. Rather, it's a time for you to take stock of what you've been feeling and then try to kind of find a plan, a strategy moving forward that can shift those things. If you're having trouble sleeping, okay, well, let's try to get to the bottom of what's behind that. Is it an emotional thing? Am I stressed? Am I not really helping myself by having no nighttime routine or a routine that's not healthy, looking at my phone all the way up until I go to bed? That's not good, right? Eating within the hour before I go to sleep, that's been said to disrupt your sleep and your digestion. Just some examples. It's a good time to evaluate and realize that it's a process too. Don't rush it and don't feel bad about yourself if, we're here again, I'm having trouble sleeping again, or I'm having anxiety again. It's all right, man. That's part of life. We make the same mistakes a couple of times before, sometimes a lot of times. I'm the one that has to get, often screamed at by God or the universe to, before I make changes, right? It's got to get really uncomfortable and painful sometimes before I actually say, okay, enough is enough, right? Working on that. But anyhow, my friends, I hope this helps a little bit. It's not going to, flip your bad day around and make it amazing. But next time you have a bad day or a collection of bad dreams, rather than being upset with yourself or panicking, being frustrated, maybe take it as an opportunity to take stock of where you are and what you can do to get to where you want to be. And that's all I got for today. Love you guys so much. See you next time. Bye.